Welcome to the online lecture series of Basics of Civil Engineering. I am Anju MJ, Assistant Professor of Department of Civil Engineering, Jyoti Engineering College, Cherupalli. I am handling the topic Introduction to Foundation from the subject Basics of Civil Engineering. The subject code is EST 120C. These are the content I have included in this presentation. What is foundation, types of foundation, advantages and disadvantages of foundation. Before moving on to the foundation, let's see what are the major building parts. These are the major building parts: superstructure, substructure and foundation. Superstructure is the uppermost part of the building and substructure is the lowermost part of the building. Superstructure is situated above the plinth level and substructure is situated below the plinth level. So foundation is otherwise known as substructure and this forms the base for any structure. So generally about 30% of the total construction cost is spent on the foundation. So the soil on which the foundation rests is called the foundation soil, and the part of the structure which is in direct contact with the ground to which loads are transmitted is known as the foundation. And the elements of superstructure transfer the loads and the moments to its adjacent element below it, and finally all loads and moments come to the foundation structure, which in turn transfers them to the underlying soil or rock. So the soil on which the foundation rests is called the foundation soil. So let's see what are the objectives of foundation. A foundation is provided for following purposes. The first objective is to distribute the total load coming on the structure on a large area, and second one is it is used to support the structure and to give enough stability to the structures against various disturbing forces like wind, rain, etc. And the other objectives of foundations are to prepare a level surface for concreting and masonry work. Moving on to the functions of foundation, these are the three major functions of foundation: to transmit the dead load and superimpose loads and also wind load from a building to the soil on which the building rests. So the main loads are dead load and live load, wind load, snow load, water load, etc. So the foundation functions are to transmit this load to the underlying soil very safely. So first function is the reduction of load intensity. To distribute the loads of superstructure to a large area so that the intensity of the load at its base does not exceed the safe bearing capacity. And second one is even distribution of load. So the load from a superstructure is not even, it will be uneven. So the foundation function is to distribute the load of the superstructure evenly into the ground. And third one is provision of level surface. Provision of level surface means it provides a level and hard surface over which the superstructure can be built. In this figure you can see the red color represents the foundation and this part shows the superstructure elements. And other than the previous slide, other functions of foundations are to prevent unequal settlement and to prevent undermining and to minimize the distress against soil movements. So apart from the three main functions of foundation, other functions are to prevent settlement, to prevent the undermining processes and to prevent the distress against soil movements. Next is the main topic is the type of foundations. We have two types of foundation: shallow foundations and deep foundation. Again the foundation have subdivisions. Shallow foundation have 5 subdivisions that are isolated footings, combined footings, trap footings, village footing, mat or raft footing. And for deep foundation the categorizations are piles, cofferdams and caissons. The foundation can be broadly classified into two types, as I said earlier: shallow foundation, deep foundation. This is a figure representing the shallow foundation and deep foundation. Shallow foundation is nothing but the depth is less than or equal to width, and capital B is the width of foundation and D is the depth of foundation, and deep foundation is depth is more than the width. So in this figure you can see the orange color represents the foundation and that pillar represents the wall or column, and shallow foundation is situated very near the ground level because the depth is very less, but the deep foundation is situated more than 3 meters from the ground level. This slide also represents the type of foundation. What are the different types of foundation, like shallow foundation, deep foundation, and the sketches are also given. So I am repeating once again, the sketches are very important in the university point of view. So study well, the sketches are very important. Moving on to the details of shallow foundation. Shallow foundation is placed immediately below the lowest part of the building, and its purpose is to distribute the load over a wide area, and it is usually embedded about a meter or into the soil. These are the types of shallow foundation. Spread footing, combined footing and mat footing are the important types of shallow foundation. In spread footing also there are again some subdivisions, and combined footing also there are 2 subdivisions. Mat footing also we have different types. So let's see one by one. Spread footing are structural members used to support the columns and walls and to transmit and distribute their loads into the soil. So you can see the footing and a column stem on the top of it, and these footings are those which spread the superimposed load of a wall or column over a large area, and it support either a column or a wall as shown in the figure. It acts as a base for building's foundation, and these components are constructed from concrete and are often reinforced with steel to add additional support. These are the sketches denotes the types of spread footings: slope footing, simple wall footing, simple column footing, stepped footing and stepped column footing. Next is combined footing. Combined footing is usually support 2 columns or 3 columns not in a row, because these are used when 2 columns are so close that single footings cannot be used, or when one column is located at or near a property line. You can see there are 2 columns is supported by only one footing. So it can support 2 or more columns, and that's why it's known as combined footing. And also depend upon the shape of the footing, it is divided into 2, that is rectangular combined footing and trapezoidal combined footing. And this is adopted when the space between 2 columns is so small and the foundation for individual columns will overlap. This is the plan and elevation of combined footings, both rectangular and trapezoidal combined footing. So combined footings are commonly adopted when 2 columns are spaced so closely. I am repeating once again, when 2 columns are spaced so closely, and when a column is very close to the property line so that it is not possible to center an individual footing under the column. And it is also adopted to prevent differential settlement in the structure. So this figure denotes the plan and section of a rectangular combined footing and trapezoidal combined footing, depend upon its shape. This is also one slide representing the combined footings in the field. Next is strap footing. Strap footings are if the independent footings of 2 columns are connected by a beam. It's called strap footing. That beam is known as strap beam, and it is used when the distance between the columns is so great and that combined footing becomes quite narrow, because the distance between the 2 footings are very large and it can be connected by a beam. That beam is known as strap footing. So the goal is to have a uniform bearing pressure. When it is connected using a strap beam, the goal is to have a uniform bearing pressure as shown in the figure. This is also one slide representing the cantilever or strap footing. You can see the footings are connected by a strap. The column size will be different. First column will be large or second column will be small. This is also one slide representing the combined footing. The footings are connected by a strap beam and the plan also given. Next is mat or rat foundation. Mat or rat foundation can be considered as a large footing extending over a large area, frequently an entire building. And it is a combined footing that covers the entire area as shown in the figure beneath a structure and supports all the walls and columns. Okay. Moving on to the plan and elevation of mat foundation, you can see it consists of a single continuous reinforced concrete slab or an inverted beam and slab construction, and it is preferable when the allowable soil pressure is low or the building loads are very heavy. It can support so many columns using one concrete slab as shown in the figure. And repeating once again, the figures or the sketches are very important for all types of foundation. This is also one figure representing the raft or mat foundation. It consists of so many columns. It is supported using a one reinforced concrete slab. Next type is grillage foundation. We have four types of shallow foundation: spread footing, strap footing, combined footing, and last one is grillage foundation. Grillage foundation is the foundation used in those places where the load of structure is heavy and the bearing capacity of soil is comparatively poor. It consists of a one column and an iron plate and steel beams as grillage and one concrete platform supporting the column. So the steel sections will be different types: channel sections, eye sections, etc. Very small description is needed for grillage foundation. For any types of foundation, very brief discussion is needed. Sketches are very important. Next are the advantages and disadvantages of shallow foundation. Advantages are affordable cost and the construction procedure is very simple because we know the shallow foundation, the depth is very less than equal to width. And third advantage is the material. Material used is mostly concrete. And next are the disadvantages of shallow foundation. Settlement. Shallow foundation cannot bear a large settlement. And second one is the limit capacity of soil structure. And third one is irregular ground surface. The ground surface may be slope, retaining wall, etc. So these are the topics I had included in this presentation. So study well. Thank you.